Yo, what's going on, Foot Clan? It's your dude, the ShredderKnowsX here. And if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. All right, let's dive into this. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your dude, the Shredder here. Hope you all enjoyed the maximum gold opening. For those of you who all saw it, yeah, it just feels good to be back after everything that's just been going on lately. I am working with a new mic, so I'm trying to work all the kinks out. Let me know what's going on. How's it going? How's it sound? I'm really looking forward to that, seeing how that's going and everything like that. So today we're here to talk about a thing that I've really been noticing, and I think I can probably give a little bit of insight on. It's Dogmatika, and it's really my feelings about it. But more importantly, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I would say I have enough experience with the deck to know how good it is and things like that, for that matter. So today I'm going to talk about the Zoo variant. I'm going to talk about and the Invoked variant, and kind of why I'm split in between the two. Why I feel like one is better than the other, or vice versa, kind of that, for that matter. Which one to me has more success now, why it's not as good as it is in the OCG, or like it is in the OCG to here in the TCG. So let's actually start with that first. So why isn't Invoked Dogmatika as successful or impactful, for that matter, like it is in the OCG? And some people may disagree with me on this, but if you look at the style of the OCG between the style of the TCG, it's very bent on really fast combo, putting out a lot of negates, building a board, and hoping that your opponent can't break it with things such as Savage Dragon, Appaloosa, and the Buster Lock, other cards such as that matter. Like, look at a deck like Dragon Link. They put out, what is it, like 2 or 3 negates or something with the Buster Lock, and they're really hoping that you can't play through that. Especially a card, like with Invoked Dogmatika, you do have a lot of room, but now when your extra deck's shut down, you're not really going anywhere. And Dragon Link can play through so many interruptions as it is anyway, and hand traps are weird and things like that. So a reason why I feel like the Invoked variant also isn't as powerful is because of, like in the OCG, you have like blowout cards. And when I mean like a blowout card, I mean like a turn ender, right? You can't do this much comboing in the OCG because they have a card like Maxi and things like that. And Maxi really does a lot. And here in the TCG, what they're doing is, like, we play Winda. Like, obviously we played Winda just like they have, but the problem with Winda is, and this is really the problem with across the board. So let's look at it this way. Like, Winda's good, but against Ill Edge, that doesn't do anything. Against Dragon Link, that doesn't really, like, it does something. And Winda's strong. Don't get me wrong, Winda is very strong. But the problem that Winda has is like getting to that maximum play and stuff like that. And I think the maximum play is really great in Invoked. It's like the strongest and greatest thing, because you don't really want to use it in the mirror match, right? You don't want to use Maximus in the mirror match. It doesn't really work that well, because now you're plussing your opponent resources. And when you're playing other variants, even the Zoo or whatever other variant, like if you're playing Eldritch Dogmatika, Eldritch Dogmatika, Zoo Dogmatika, Necros, whatever Dogmatika version you're playing, Maximus just isn't that good, right? So now he's kind of taken out of the equation, and like your setup play is now taken away, and your board really revolves around, in theory, a Makaba, Ecclesia with a Fortalice in hand, and probably a punishment set. That's 3 interactions right there. You're hoping to still have an Alistair in hand, and you're having these 2-card combos that you're hoping to go off. And when they don't go off, like if you get hand trapped at any moment, like let's say you get Gamma, that's a real turn ender, and it just ends your turn. You know, you can't really do anything. If you normal summon Alistair and they go Gamma, you're just stuck, because now it's negated and it's destroyed. You now have to have the Invocation in hand, and if you don't have the Invocation in hand, you're kind of stuck. You have to have the Invocation or a Talons to hopefully get you there, and if it doesn't get you there, you're just kind of setting some cards and hoping you don't get OTK'd. And I think that's like where a lot of players don't really like the deck. And the deck is really good also when there's no one else around when it comes to Invoked. I just think it loses so much to certain hand traps. Like it really loses to Gamma. It loses to Ash and Imperm. Like, you know, you Ash the Ecclesia. If you Imperm the Alistair and they don't have a way to get to the Macabre, then you just go secure Gardener, and then you're like, okay, let's see what they have for the Ecclesia. If they have something for the Ecclesia, you're kind of really stuck at that point, and there's not really things you can do. You're kind of stuck on a lackluster board. If your board isn't like, now if you open Nadir Servant, it's kind of different, because Nadir Servant does allow you to play around hand traps better. But other cards that, like other hand traps that end you are, obviously Ogre doesn't really do a lot, and they're not going to use Nibiru. But Ash, Imperm, and Gamma really do lots, including Droll. Like if you this deck searches a lot, you Droll it, it's game over. You know, like in the OCG, I think the reason they cut window was because everybody was playing Defusion for Thunder Dragons, because Colossus is still limited over there, and for them and Thunder Dragons, you make window, okay, Defusion, continue with what I was doing if you don't have any real turn enders. And like, I like the Rook play. I like the Shaddoll Rook play. I think it's really good. I think why the Invoke variant just sees so much more, I'm sorry, not the Invoke variant, why the Invoke variant doesn't see so much successes, it loses to other decks that really have a pretty good going second matchup. I do think Infernobles and obviously Dinos, Tyranno equals game at this point. I've said this 1,000 times on this channel. It just ends your plays, and not ends your plays, but it just rips through your field, and it just does so much. Tyranno is just so strong, and have you read Missile is the meme so far, and it just it does a lot. Missile, you know, just hey, that's heat. That's pretty good. You gotta hate to see Missile. Infernobles is ripped through fields really well with gear free. I think do I love Infernobles, like playing, like I tried to play it. I think it's really good. But it's just one of those decks I just can't play. Like, I respect it. I love it. I love the people who try to learn how to play. Good luck learning that combo. Hey man, you hand ripping cards off my hand. I don't like that. But hey, you did a lot of comboing to get there, and then you got Dragon Links and all those. Yeah, I just gave you 3 decks right there. They just have no like real problem with Invoked Dogmatika. And they have that lackluster board, you know, like when like without that window play, and like it doesn't really do anything. I'm a combo for releasing set, and maybe set 1 in passing, and having hand traps don't really do. It does something, but that is a lot. But if they can play through that, it's, man, good luck. And you know, I tried the Dragoon variant too. I tried like the Invoked Dogmatika Dragoon variant. It just didn't work out so well. Like some games I would open really good, and I would actually just blow my opponent out. And then one time, I think I ended on like Invoked. I ended up on Invoked plays, and like luckily enough, I had a Macabre. I had an Invocation in hand, so I had an Invocation and an Alistair and an Ash in hand. So I was able to end on like a pretty decent board that actually did a lot. And I had like Invoked plays, and if I wanted to, depending on what I wanted to go into, depending on what I wanted to go into, it would end a lot more differently. So there's that. and like playing around all these hand traps and stuff is kind of hard. But the reason why the Zoo variant really comes up in my mind is because you have now cards with Phantom Rage now out. You now have cards. You now have cards. You now have cards such as Zoo out. You have Zoo and Alpha, which are really good going second card. I think they work better and more of a Zoo variant when they do an Invoked variant. And the reason why I actually like the Zoo version is, you're not really doing anything to get hand trapped, necessarily speaking, because you literally summon and you don't have to go effect. You're not losing to Omega. I mean, the only thing you can really lose to when you're playing the Zoo variant is I think Nibiru and Nibiru. But other than that, it's like that's even like a weird, like if no one's playing Nibiru, you're pretty much good. I don't know which version I'm gonna play next. I really don't. Probably gonna mess around with something. But I think let's talk about the Zoo variant and what its ending game is. So the ending game of the Zoo variant is to like basically end on a Trident and have a Quarter Lease in hand, obviously. And to you, that's like Will Shredder. That's not good. That's kind of different. But you don't lose to hand traps as bad. And the other thing is too, like Zoo variants, I think, can play any card, right? Like the Zoo variants can play like a lot better than other cards can. So like you're only playing like 10 Zoo cards, right? You're only gonna probably play not even 10 Dogmatika cards. That now takes up to get you to 40. Now you got, you're gonna have Tanky and Raj, so now you got 15 cards you can go after. So now let's say you go with 12 hand traps. That's a lot of hand traps, right? That is. And I feel like you can fit more and do more in the Zoo variant because now you have cards like Alpha. Now you have cards like the use of the extra deck is better than it is, I think, in the Invoked version. And I'm gonna get to this in probably another video. I'm gonna talk about like what, in my opinion, is winning under the contender of control deck for this format, even though I think the format is less than a month away, I guess, at this point. You're looking at, I think it's, what is it, December? Mid-December we're getting the ban list? We should be getting the ban list, or something like that. And that renders a lot of things that are actually going on, obviously. So yeah, and when you're setting cards for Zoo, when you're having hand traps, I just don't know how I feel about either or is the Zoo variant is probably just as fun and competitive as the Invoked variant. I love playing the Invoked variant. It's fun. The first week it came out, I enjoyed it. And it wasn't because I was winning. It was for the first time in a while I actually enjoyed the deck. I didn't feel like I was forcing myself to play. And that's how I felt with Eldritch and why Eldritch doesn't. I just never enjoyed Eldritch on its own. It just seems really slow. And it's like, it can get very power crept, in my opinion. I think very fast. Where other decks, this format is a very kind of half and half 2017 light format with dinos running around and obviously Zoodiac running around. I think those are two really good decks. I think Dinos is getting hit. I do. I think Dragon Link is also really good. And I think that's the problem these decks have, right? That's the problem a lot of these decks have. They have a problem with handling these just boards. I think that's just the problem. And I can't tell you which one's better for you. Like I said, the Zoo variant is two things and some back row, and maybe two things, maybe some back row, hopefully a hand trap and things like that. And the what is it? The Invoked variant is on more. I just feel like the Invoked variant, for some reason the Invoked variant feels like it's like really tight space. I think the problem the Invoked variant has is it loses to a lot of interactions. You may not the amount of resources you have to use in the Zoo variant is a lot more different. So yeah, that's me. That's my TED talk. That's how I feel about Zoo versus Dogmatika versus Dogmatika. I feel like time will tell. You know, time will tell which one's better. We'll see as this one goes. Maybe it's just pure Z that's better. The amount of support it's been getting throughout the past couple of weeks and formats. The LCS is probably happening right now as I'm recording this. I think I'm gonna try to put this out Monday morning for you all. So if y'all did enjoy the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you feel about this down below between Zoo and Invoked Dogmatika, the two of them. How do you feel about which one's better? Which one do you feel like has a better or higher success rate? Yeah, if you enjoyed what you heard, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really trying to get more subscribers here, help your boy out. And yeah, that's it. Peace out from the Shredder.